Can you hear me in the back? Can you hear me in the back? Amy, wave your hand. I see you, Amy. I see you. Thank you for being here in Washington, D.C. and all across the country and indeed across the world, raising voices for justice and respect for the sanctity of lives of children and families everywhere. I am Bishop Julius Trimble, the General Secretary for the General Board of Church and Society, the historic Methodist building that you walked past before you came here. The Methodist building is not just for Methodists. We host over 40 organizations and over 50 other groups that meet in that building and hold office space there. We stand as the only non-governmental building on Capitol Hill to declare that no government stands outside of the judgment of God and must heed what Bishop Latrell Easterling said today, that the earth is the Lord's and all who dwell therein. We cannot, friends, transform the world nor meet this moment in history with only prayers and well-crafted resolutions, as though God will do for us what we have the power to do for ourselves. God help us not to be silent nor slip back into the comfort of our own particular privileges. We are here because we dare to obey the commandment to love God and neighbor. Yes. We welcome the sojourner who seeks refuge and asylum and safety, and to demand due process and respect for every family, for all individuals. Alex Preddy, Renee Good, Silverio Gonzalez did not have to die. We grieve and mourn their loss and demand justice and an end to state-sanctioned violence. We must sound the alarm. And if our elected leaders and federal administration will not make course correction away from tyranny and the trampling of freedom of speech, the violation of rights, the abandonment of serious bipartisan efforts at comprehensive immigration reform, then we will stand in the gap. Yes. We will stand in the gap between truth and lies. In 2025 was immigration's detention's deadliest year in 2 decades. My friends, why is there money to buy warehouses and yet no money for affordable housing? Why are our communities being terrorized with children afraid to go to school and families afraid to go to worship and infants and toddlers and families being detained and in some cases deported to countries they have never been to nor have no connection? We must stand in the gap. We are in a defining moment in history as we dare to declare to our government that our government stands under God's judgment and must therefore be held accountable for protecting the innocent, guaranteeing basic freedoms and liberties without ignoring the Constitution or the Golden Rule. I have a question for this crowd, because we are faced with an emergency. Some of you flew here. Any of you flew here on planes from other places? If you were seated in the emergency row, let me tell you something. I know I fly a lot. If you're seated in the emergency row in the airplane, you were approached before the plane took off, and you were asked a serious question by the flight attendant. The flight attendant said to you, if you were seated in the emergency row, are you willing to assist in case of emergency? Yeah. And here's what the attendant said after that. I need an audible yes. Yeah. Because if you're not willing to assist, we can find you a different seat. Jesus said, according to Matthew, don't make false promises. Let your yes be yes. Let your no be no. So I have a question for you. Are you here because you recognize this is an emergency? And we need people to stand up for the rights of all people, no exceptions. I need an audible yes. Are you here because you are willing to contact your senators and congressional representatives and tell them to stop the abuse of ICE and Border Patrol? I need an audible yes. Are you here because you're willing to pray together, march together, sing together, vote like it matters? If so, I need an audible yes. Yes. Are you here because you're willing to lift our democracy and vote like your children and our children's children depend upon it? Otherwise, they will pay the price for our silence. If you will, I need an audible yes. Yes. If you think we should be feeding the hungry and curing illnesses rather than building warehouses and private prisons, I need an audible yes. Yes. Remember, we are called to be both salt of the earth and the light of the world. From Austin, Texas to Anchorage, Alaska. From Minneapolis to Mississippi. Yeah. From the east to the west. From North America to the global south. Yeah. From Washington, D.C. to TRC. We will shine the light in dark deeds and decisions. The decisions that this government is making to reward the rich and the selfish while ignoring the well-being of our communities. Yeah. Remember what Dr. King said. Hatred cannot drive out hatred. Only love can do that. Yes. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Yes. You have been called to be the light of the world. Amen. You have been called to be the salt of the earth. And by the way, my friends, salt melts ice. Yes.